How's it going, people? Welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. The usual gang is in the building, and we have an exciting weekend to recap, including action from AFCON, the African Cup of Nations final, where Ivory Coast emerged victorious over the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And we will get right into it after this.
Bukayo Saka! Anthony! Salah! Beautiful from a Badia! Kane! There goes Haaland. He's on.
Brilliant. Welcome if you're just joining us. Welcome to Top 6 Fan TV. The show is the Locker Room. The usual gang is in the building. Mr. Sly from Chelsea, Jonah, the Liverpool man, Munzi from Manchester United, and of course, I will be carrying the Arsenal flag today. And great results from the weekend. I'll quickly go around, gentlemen, and start by asking you what your highlight of the weekend was. Very quickly, starting with Sly, your highlight of the weekend.
Oh man, I think my highlight is consistency. I can't even just talk about the weekend, but like the last couple of games, the way midfielders come together, it's been it's been nice. I've been real pleased about that. Let's just hope it's consistent or continues to be consistent.
Chelsea, after all that pain, Jonah, your highlight of the week. You're on mute, man.
Oh, sorry. I was saying it was good to get back to winning ways after the defeat at the Emirates. We had this. Every game is tricky in the Premier League, so it was good to get back to winning ways with a good score, 3-1. The forwards getting on the score sheet. Yeah, I would say my highlight was just getting back to winning.
Fantastic. And finally, Mr. Manzi, your highlight of the week, sir.
My highlight was a negative highlight. The shock of Arsenal scoring 6 was it was a negative highlight, but maybe I should call it a low light. But yeah, I was quite shocked that Arsenal could do so well. Yeah.
Fantastic. And your low light is actually my highlight. So I won't dive into it. But let's kick off the action going in from the big boys at the top of the table currently, and kicking off none other than with Liverpool at Anfield. They got back to winning ways, as Jonah said. Great result for them right there at Anfield. 3-1 the final score against Burnley. Goals coming in from the likes of Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz, and Mr. Darwin Núñez, who seems to score when he is not under pressure. But what was your take on that game, Jonah? Your take on that result? The Cop coming back from obviously poor results the previous weekend.
Yeah, being a home game, I would have expected us to do much more. But Liverpool this season, our results, what people don't realize is, if you actually watch the games, we haven't been like, you see say 4-0 and you think we were washing guys, but we have very many shaky moments in games. And Burnley, they had moments where they could have killed us, but the keeper saved us, and there were other brilliant moments from Kwanzaa and Van Dijk saving us here and there. So for me, it was just business as usual, in the sense of it's almost like we win on emotion. Like, we don't play exactly so well, but in the moments when we do play well, the guys will find a way of doing something.
That's very interesting. Sly, what was your take on that result for the Cop?
I mean, okay, granted, like business as usual. I didn't expect them to have any kind of a challenge with it, but it's Liverpool through and through. I mean, Liverpool is emotions at the end of the day. They react. and that Arsenal loss, like it really, it was a sucker punch, it was a sucker punch. They didn't expect it. They played horribly, like, and they Arsenal, did what they did, and so they needed a reaction, and Burnley could have been a really really tricky game for them. It could have been, but they got the reaction. Darwin is one of those, like I feel like strikers don't get enough time. Like he makes the runs. He's hardworking. He's passionate, and he's starting to become a little bit scary. Like he's like a wannabe Cavani, and you forget that they're young. They're gonna build. So I mean, yeah, it was expected, yes, but expected because that's what they do.
Man, Anzi, I don't know what your take is on yes, Liverpool. I mean, obviously bounced back from that defeat against Arsenal, but how much? I mean, that win taking them back to the top of the table, albeit until Man City play their game in hand. But do you see the nerves likely to creep in for Liverpool as a result of Klopp's decision to leave? I don't know. Do you feel they're the juggernaut they were before Klopp announced his departure versus post his announcement?
I haven't seen it yet. I think the Arsenal loss was a shock. We all expected Liverpool to win or at least draw. And Burnley, I see on the table Burnley is 19th, so it was an obvious win. I think they're still playing well. Let's give it like another month after 4 games. If they continue their consistency, looking at the table, they only have one loss. One is to Arsenal, the other two I don't know. I don't know who else lost to, but if you don't win the league, you have to minimize losses as much as possible. And most times, the person who wins the league has the least losses. So I think they're still in the driving seat.
Fantastic. Liverpool, are they really in the driving seat? We will know. Obviously, great to see the likes of Jota and Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunes keeping them afloat without, the likes of Mo Salah still to come, and of course Soboslai also injured right there in midfield. So they are missing a few crucial players. Of course, Konate was as well suspended, but all those should be coming back for the next round of fixtures, which I think is going to be very crucial for Liverpool because they then have, their next 5 games in the English Premier League specifically. They have Brentford next away, then they host Luton, and then they have a few cup games in there. EFL Cup final is at the end of Feb. Chelsea versus Liverpool. That's going to be an interesting one. Silverware up for grabs before an FA Cup fifth round tie against Southampton. Before then getting back into to the Premier League away to Nottingham Forest. And then the big game thereafter with Manchester City coming to Anfield, and thereafter Merseyside derby. So it's going to be interesting for Liverpool the next 5-6 games right there. You expect them to breeze through their next two, but the cup games coming up, especially the EFL Cup final, is going to be one to watch with Chelsea also looking like they're starting to hit top gear. But great result for them, for the boys at Liverpool. But can they overcome the juggernaut from the blue side of Manchester? Manchester City doing what they do best, hitting top gear in this part of the season. 2-0 final score against Everton at the Etihad. Both goals coming in from Erling Haaland. And you guessed it, there was an assist from Kevin De Bruyne, the other assist coming in from Nathan Ake. But Mr. Haaland back on steroids. Sly. Should we basically write off the league with these guys? These guys back on the pitch, or
No, they're vulnerable. I mean, like, look, yeah, KDB, Haaland. I've I think that we need. I worry more about Arsenal and Liverpool. To be perfectly honest with you, I know that they can go on like what they traditionally do is this crazy run towards the end of the season where they're just winning and winning and winning and winning. But honestly, I think that their dominance is not as felt this season as I would say in other seasons. Like and I mean that as a collective. Like, of course, as individuals, like there's people doing amazing things, but you can't always to win the league. You can't always rely on that. And we've seen them, falter here and there. And I think when the pressures of the Champions League comes back into play, because now it's defend it, do something heroic, because Pep is due a sabbatical, and so it's. I'm not as confident as other people are in what they're doing, but wins like this are expected. These guys are going to lose the league to, of course, like maybe an off kind of cold night in Stoke. But the reality is these guys are going to be undone when they play Arsenal or they play Liverpool or they play anyone that considers themselves to be, a top 6 club. And I'm not as confident as the rest.
Yeah, do you share that optimism, Jonah, as the Liverpool man chasing, or rather being chased by City? Of course, they do have a game in hand. They win that, and they're basically above you by a couple of points. In at the top of the table. What's your take on them? Do you stop them, or does City get stopped when they next face Liverpool?
To be honest, when it comes to City, you just have to ignore them. You have to don't think about them. You have to just focus on your games. And the good thing, with us, I don't know if Arsenal still has to play them. I think they do.
Yes.
But we have them at Anfield. We got a draw. It was a very good game at Etihad, which normally we lose there. So that was good for us. Like now they have to come to Anfield. That's going to be a problem for them. And if I'm not mistaken, like Sly said, when that game comes, it will be at the height of Champions League pressure. They'll probably be in a semi by that time or in a quarter or something like that. And yeah, Anfield is also not easy for them. So honestly, I try not to pay attention to their games. Their game this weekend, I was watching with one eye, following on my phone for the sake of fantasy points, but not really caring if they win or lose. I'm like, so long as we keep doing what we have to do on our side, we don't. You can't pay attention to City. You fall sick or become an alcoholic.
They'll definitely drive you into that, and I mean that win, taking them to second in the table, a game with a game in hand and 2 points behind Liverpool, although level on points with City. And I mean, looking at the next few results, obviously Champions League does resume for them tonight. But after that, they have a home game against Chelsea. Then they welcome Brentford, then Bournemouth, then of course FA Cup in between there. Before some very interesting round of matches. Luton away in the FA Cup, which I'm sure they'll probably dispatch Luton quite thoroughly with aplomb. And before they head to Manchester Derby at home at the Etihad, then a return leg for FC Copenhagen in the Champions League, and then they go to face Liverpool at Anfield. So a bit of a tricky round of matches. Brighton after that away, and then Arsenal. They then welcome Arsenal to the Etihad. One week they welcome Aston Villa. So it looks like there's a potential banana skin there. Manzi, do you see them dropping these points? I certainly see, between second leg of the Champions League. They have just before that second leg, return leg of the round of 16. Before that, they have the Manchester Derby. 3 days later, Champions League. 3 or 4 days later, then they play Liverpool. And then they away to Brighton and then welcome Arsenal to the Etihad. I mean, that if they come out of that unscathed, Manzi, I don't know what we will say.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I think Liverpool just has to beat City and forget about all the other games. If Liverpool beats City, then they win the league.
Yeah.
City can beat Arsenal, they'll beat United, of course, and then the other games, they will fight for the trophy of Champions League. And I think Liverpool are capable of beating City. I think they'll not respect them as much as they respected Arsenal. They'll come out because they think Arsenal won't win the league, but they know City are the real title contenders. So I think if they beat City, so the banana skin might be on that game. I don't see where
Basically, a
else they
lot of what
go
you're saying is based on like recent history, right? Like,
Right.
because this city is not the city that has
Yeah.
just been semi-dismantled. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's
Going
the
to,
feeling. You feel like they won't do it.
it's a bit different.
so where's the vulnerability as we
Right.
close up? Is
For
it in
me personally,
defense?
I think it comes to complacency. You know, it's they're not as you know, I remember like there was a time back in the day we would say, if you can make it to 20 minutes with City, then you might have a chance.
Yeah.
Because they just used to bomb rush you. You know what I mean? It was just there was so much happening everywhere. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on over there right now. Haaland is a mercenary. He's not an Aguero. You know, yes, the numbers are there, but like you can score a hat trick and still, you know, take a 4-3 loss against Aston Villa or what have you. You know, and I don't know. I just personally, I just don't think they have that that confidence that they once had. You know, and those sneak goals in here and like on the other end in terms of league. So I don't know.
Yeah, so that answers the question. Defense definitely is an issue where the weak link has been noticed for City, not so much for the team with the best defensive record in the league right now. Also ramping up the pressure on the scoring charts. The Arsenal coming in to score 6 goals away to West Ham and put the Hammers in their place. I mean, 6-0, the final score there. I mean, goals coming in from all over the park. Saliba, Gabriel in the center of defense, keeping a clean sheet, going to the other end of the pitch to make sure the opposition keepers' sheets were not kept clean. And of course, a couple of goals coming in from Bukayo Saka, one of which was a penalty, Trossard, and a spectacular goal from Declan Rice, rounding up the result for the Arsenal there, 6-0. Very resounding result there. And I just kick off with you, Manzi. That, of course, does keep them in third place. But Manzi, your take on that result, the significance of it, not necessarily, basically the number of goals that were scored. But what does that do for Arsenal in terms of momentum?
I think it builds their confidence because, like I said, with the Liverpool game, it seemed like a fluke. Like we all expected Liverpool to win. They beat Liverpool, not very convincingly, but this one, man, this one was convincing. Yeah, it was back in the days of 8-2, 6-1, 5-0. It was that kind of game. And it even got
For that one.
8-2.
No, I'm just saying those many goals. I'm sorry. But just like, games end 1-0, 2-0, but 6. I don't know if there have been very many games in 2023, 2024 that go up to 6. I thought West Ham is a strong team. So I think Arsenal leave this match very confident. I watched one of the pundits saying they were dominant. So I'll also repeat, they dominated West Ham. Congrats to them. I think they're working hard. They play as a team. Their football is flowing. It's beautiful to watch. Yeah.
Fantastic. And we do have some comments coming in from those in the virtual studio, rather virtual audience. Cleophas Balgumi is saying Arsenal was superb this weekend. I do know he is a Manchester United fan. Thank you, Cleophas, for tuning in. Keep the comments coming, and I'll move it on to Jonah. I mean, this result taking Arsenal level with Manchester City on goal difference and one behind Liverpool on goal difference. This is a team that has been hammered for lack of striking options, right? As their Achilles heel, right? They can't put the ball in the back of the net. What I mean, you can only imagine what that would have panned out to be with Martin Odegaard, who has created the most chances to date out of the top seven leagues in Europe. I mean, he has created the most chances, or goal opportunities for the attacking lineup. So you can imagine if he had I mean, even an Ivan Tony Watkins in front of him, or even a Haaland, what Arsenal would be like at the front of it. But your take on Arsenal's defense, they're doing very well, the best as we said. But
The thing with you guys, man, your head's always in the clouds, huh?
hey, man, let the man finish. Let the man finish. Jonah, let me pull you in. Your take, your take on Arsenal's attack, because for me, I think it's the part that has definitely surprised me over the last few matches.
Definitely. This season, if you compare Arsenal this season to, it's actually interesting that you say you're now on par with Man City via goal difference. I didn't know that. Because this season, I would say Arsenal, like Arteta kind of changed his ways. Some people would say he was figured out and he had to change his ways. But I think you've had less attacking returns this season than you did last season. Like last season, you were really, really pulling goals from everywhere. Now this game, the West Ham game, was almost like the frustration of the whole season just came into one game. Everyone was contributing. Guys were getting 2 assists, 2 goals from set pieces, from open play. All types of goals were coming in. So it was almost like, I wouldn't say it's a freak game. It was like an accumulation of the frustration of the whole season. Like when things have not been working out. If I'm to use an example of Darwin Nunez, how he keeps getting chances. No one gets more chances than him, but he keeps hitting the bar and da. But there will come a game where Darwin will score like 6 goals and people will be like, that's insane. But if anyone who has been watching Darwin, you would see that it was always coming. So that's the thing with Arsenal, is I think, I would say the same about Chelsea, especially in the beginning of the season, where you see that the chances are being created. You can't explain why goals are not coming, because you see the chances being created, they're just not converted. So with Arsenal, the whole season has kind of seemed like that. And I guess it was probably a confidence boost from the Liverpool game. And now West Ham had to suffer it.
Yeah, definitely West Ham had to suffer it. And we do have some other comments coming in. Kevin Dianabanji, who is, of course, an Arsenal fan, commenting on... Super Kev. Yeah, saying, I just don't see City losing any game apart from the Liverpool game. Manzi, describe that Arsenal fluke against City properly. I don't get it. Of course, making reference to the victory Arsenal had against Liverpool 3-1 last weekend, and Kevin not agreeing that it was a fluke. Sour grapes there from Manzi seem to be highlighted by Kevin. But I'll pull Sly in. I mean, Arsenal are hitting. I know they're probably third in terms of favorites for the running, right? But they're hitting form at the right time. I'd say since their loss at home to Liverpool, which was that was the FA Cup when they're knocked out. Then they went for like a sort of winter break to Dubai, right? They have come back, and their first game back, they beat Crystal Palace. Yes, you'd say Palace were poor, but that was 5-0. Then they went away to Nottingham Forest, who they lost at last season. Came out with victory 2-1. They beat Liverpool 3-1, as we well know from last weekend. And now going away to the Hammers, who they lost to twice this season. and drew to last season to sort of drop momentum in the hand for the league and come out resounding with a 6-0. That seems like a team that is getting its mojo back from an attacking point of view. And if you match that with, would you say arguably the best defense? Yes, by statistics now, they're looking like the best defense, although for me, Zinchenko is still the weak link on the left side. Does that seem like solid momentum, Sly, in terms of someone, an underdog, ready to sort of upset the odds?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the idea of an underdog. And I mean, like, look, on paper, it looks great. 16 goals in 4 games in the last 4 games, and best defensive record. So ideally, on paper, you're feeling like, these are guys that should be talked about the same way we were talking about Man City earlier in terms of the confidence that people were presenting. But the fact is, it's like, even you yourselves as Arsenal fans, like it surprises you when you do stuff like that. You're still in that infancy of like, you see stuff like this and you'll go nuts, like people made a lot of noise about it on social media when you beat Liverpool and the photographer was taking pictures, or rather having his picture taken by the captain and all those kinds of things. It's because it's like it's almost, it's still fresh and kind of infant to you. Whereas when you look at like the other competitors for the league, it's like a 1-0 is okay. We move on. They're a bit more constructive about it. And I say all that to say that I think the table stands as it is in terms of like it's between Liverpool and Man City. Like Arsenal are on form, but the thing is, the same way you experience such highs as the club and as a fan base, you will also experience such downfalls. Like you just need to have one bad performance, and it like shakes up kind of like the I mean, what you would look at as the status quo. But the thing is I just don't have that belief yet. I would rather, like, not I'd rather, but I more likely see City winning the league than I do see Arsenal.
Okay, you're in a Chelsea.
Form is form. No, form is form.
That's okay. That's okay.
I mean, like, tell me where you think I'm wrong. I'm okay.
No, it's not that slight. It's that you really do not like Arsenal. Even when you try to be reasonable, and you are being reasonable, like there's nothing you've said that's wrong. I agree with you, but I can feel it, man.
moving on from Arsenal, I think let's touch United. Yeah, but before that, comment coming in from Mateo. Andrew Arthur saying Arsenal's using the cannon in its badge this season. Boom. That's fine.
Oh, I thought you meant like cannon as in like.
Hey man, where. But anyways, let's move on. Moving on to United. Speaking of a team, Sly, as you can see with the virtual, the guys in the audience know where where your loyalties lie, and you can't help but be as sly as a fox, right?
No, but you see, the thing is, like I said, Matthew, what is it that I've said that you feel I've been wrong about? Like, honestly.
No.
I know you're on a high right now, and you have every right to be on a high because the stats and the numbers make sense. But the thing is, it's like, let me give you an example. There was a lot of discussion on social media recently about, the poster boy, #1 Arsenal player turned fan, Ian Wright, coming out and saying, "Oh, what are you talking about? My manager like this and all." And everyone was talking about it's because now you're trying to create that whole kind of siege mentality of, oh, it's them against us. But it's like it doesn't. It's not all the way there. Do you get what I mean? It's like it's not all the way, and you don't have that. You've had the resources, you've had everything, you've built, you've dropped, and all of that kind of stuff. So I understand that you have that confidence, but I also see how quickly that confidence grew, and the fact that it's going to take a plummet. It's that same old elephant
Rollercoaster,
on the tree branch.
yeah, man.
We
I
all
guess,
know what's going to happen.
yeah, probably. I guess coming from a Chelsea fan, you can relate to those
Stop
situations.
saying that.
But it's good to see that you guys are back, and of course another team that is back and building quite a bit of momentum are the boys from Manchester, the Red Devils themselves. Manchester United going away to Aston Villa and disposing of Aston Villa. 2-1 the final score. Late winner coming in from super sub Scott McTominay, the other goal from Hoyland, who is also picking up steam right there. Great result for the Red Devils, and that was celebrated across the red half of Manchester and in other places around the world by Manchester United fans. Manzi, great result for you. That result keeping Aston Villa in 5th place and Manchester United in 6th place. Unfortunately, not enough to leapfrog Aston Villa, level on games played and still 5 points behind Aston Villa. So such is the task. With a very interesting goal difference of 0 for Manchester United, but picking up the steam. Manzi, your take on that result? Is Ten Hag back? And looks like he's picking up a bit of steam there for United. Your take on it?
He's not back at all. United is this was a blip, positive, be that as it may. Um, United's games, first of all, you watch them when you're in Bunkenge. Okay, when you, I don't know what Bunkenge is in English, but the whole 90 minutes is for being at the edge of your seat. It's not like Liverpool where you'll be sure you win, or maybe Arsenal. So thanks to Rasmus, who has been scoring in the last, I think, 4 games, you can at least count his goal. There will be 1 goal. I think what saved us in this game was defense and Onana, because they still had very many chances. Either they were not also good at shooting, they had some poor finishing, but Onana made like 4 saves. So you miss another 2 saves, then it's now 3-2. So yeah, for once, Onana is not the one to blame. And well done to Rasmus and McTominay, who always comes to help us in times of. But you see, it's for winning in the 90th minute when he had lost all hope. So I still think United is not back. They got lucky. And you can see from a goal difference of 0. Man, if you look at the other teams around us, even teams below us, have a goal difference. Like Newcastle has 12. When you go to losses, we have 9. All the teams above us have fewer. So even teams below us like Brighton have 7 and West Ham 8. Yeah, United is still very poor.
Even Chelsea has 1, man, +1. But I mean,
yeah.
I catch your drift. So you're not comfortable with the performances. Happy with the result, obviously, Manzi. I'll swing the next question to Jonah. Jonah, like I said, Manchester United in 6th place, 5 points behind Aston Villa, and Aston Villa a point behind Tottenham. So that's 6 points. Manchester United 6 points behind Spurs, 5 points behind Aston Villa. Does United go on to finish above those two in the hunt for the top 4 Champions League places?
No. Honestly, no. I think the competition is very stiff in that area. Newcastle started picking up points. I know you didn't mention them, did you? No. But
no,
Spurs,
I didn't. They're 5 points behind Manchester United, so I don't see.
No, there's Newcastle still in it, in a sense, maybe not in it to be in the top 4, but in it to create problems. Villa a bit on and off. I don't know what happened to them at home. I think they could have won this game easily. They had very many chances that they didn't take. So that's a whole other discussion. Then there's Spurs, who also kind of like us play on emotions. Like there will be games where you think they should have lost, but they find a way to win it. They are criticized for conceding every game, but the fact is they still win. So if I was to weigh, and maybe I'm being like Sly and putting in my personal bias, but I just don't see United making top 4, honestly.
They
Interesting.
can't, man. Even top 5, they really can't.
Well, a lot of Manchester United fans, such as Chris, the noisy gang, Boom Squad,
Boom
Chris,
squad.
Nathan, Muslim is a bit measured these days, but yeah, Boom Squad will disagree with you. The guys are United is back, 99 is back, in Chris's words. last, the last show, the spirit of 99 is back, and we'll wait to see. But obviously, wise words coming from Jonah, having experienced the same with Liverpool last season, United holding off Liverpool for that 4th spot. And it just goes to show you that poor first half of the season can leave you with a bit too much ground to cover in the end. But we will wait and see. Sly, your boys, Chelsea, picking up an impressive win, albeit late short of a win. 2 goals over Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park. Selhurst Park, goals coming in from Conor Gallagher. Speaking of late goals, the last 2 coming in well after 90 minutes, to sort of seal the results after Crystal Palace had taken the lead with Jefferson Lama screamer right there. Sly, this victory lifting Chelsea lifting them up to 10th. I think you guys were 10th before, right? So you guys maintain momentum, and but picking up a good few results. Chelsea, right?
I don't know why I bother.
You won your last 2 games after losing the 2 before that and drawing before that. But impressive results, both 3-1 against Aston Villa and now against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Is Mauricio Pochettino finding momentum with this team, Sly? And I don't think you're in the question for Champions League, but let's respectfully see if you have a chance to get into Europa. But momentum for Pochettino, do you think he has figured out the right mix for Chelsea?
Yeah, we don't have momentum as yet. We're seeing sparks in different aspects of the pitch. When we've gotten our wing backs back at times, when James came back initially and then Chile came back, you saw sparks happening there. At some point we got a little bit of stability at one point with the centre back situation. Right now, the midfield is for the last few games is firing on all cylinders and so forth. It's very progressive in the sense that you're seeing, it's not yet happening in a cohesive unit. Like, you're not seeing it happen. It's happening in sparks across the pitch. So it's very progressive in terms of that. And we're starting to see a lot more things like grit and being able to see out games coming into play, that kind of level of professionalism. So, like I said, we're a very, very young squad. We're a young squad, inexperienced, but we have world-class potential within.
Inexperienced, Sly. I mean, young, I agree. Forgive me for interjecting. But
hold on. Well, what experience do you see on the pitch? Remove Silva from the squad.
No. Look. Just look at this slide. Yes, young, I agree. But of course, Silva. If you remove him, then you take away 3/4 of the age of the team.
You take away that, and we're the youngest squad in the league. But go on.
Yeah, but in terms of experience, I don't agree with you because.
Are you saying because Fernando has won the he has won the World Cup, all of a sudden he has experience?
No. Look. Yeah, that counts for something. Look at the 2 goals in this photo, right? Sorry? This is a World Cup winner, and you have a treble winner in there, right? Yeah. Those are massive trophies, right? And you could argue you still have a good chunk of the team that won the Champions League with Chelsea.
No, we don't. We actually do not.
You just spoke about the wing backs. Philly, Reese.
The guys that are there from that day, you talk about
Yeah,
Joel,
yeah, Jewel and
Reece
Reese.
James.
And then you have these two guys. You have
Who else?
Silver.
Who
Yeah,
else?
I think.
Who else was there other than those two? And Silver.
No.
So those
These
three
two guys, Silver, Chilwell. That's like what, five? Half out of.
three.
No, that's like five,
How's
and
that
half of the
5?
starting 11. Yeah, think about it.
Matthew, I was
Palmer,
starting in ever right now. Yeah, there's like
Palmer,
2 to
Enzo.
3. Palmer was not part of the Champions League winning squad. You've got
No,
Silver,
but he did. He won the treble last. He won the
Chile.
treble
That's
last
it.
season.
But how much did he play in that team?
Yeah, I know,
How
but
much
he was
did he?
there.
Yes, he won the treble, but how much did he play in that team? So his experience was what? Watching from the sidelines on the subs bench. That's not experience. Come on.
That also counts for something.
Let's not need to, like, let's not split hairs. The reality is irrespective of if Pedro won so many trophies at Barcelona before he was even playing like, full time as a regular player. You can't just kind of boil that all down. And especially if you're talking about your starting 11, man. You start to talk about that stuff when, I mean, I know you don't know about winning Champions League and stuff like that, but once you won the Champions League, that's when you start talking about I was in the living room, I was in the dressing room and I was part of that, and you have that impact. But FA Cups and things, come on, man. Let's
the day I tell you, the day Arsenal win the Champions League, you guys all need to hide because
no freaking way, bro. Like when you win more than the rest of us, that's when you can talk.
No, just the Champions League, just that one. It will be quite interesting.
Tottenham is gonna win the Champions League before us.
Anyway. Yeah, there we go. Jonas delivery guy has made it.
With his loud ass grandpa bell.
Yeah, man. That's the cop for you, right? Legends. Onesie, where does Chelsea finish?
We're back, but not in the Man United way. We're starting to see things coming together. So
fantastic.
So
quick one. Does Poch Manzi? I'll come back to you on where does Chelsea finish realistically. Sly, one last one from you. Keep Poch or fire Poch at the end of the season.
We've got to keep him. We've got to keep him.
Right. So Poch stays. Fantastic. Manzi, Chelsea, where do they finish realistically at the end of the season?
Chelsea realistically maybe 13th or 12th.
They drop from 10th with momentum.
If they do well, maybe because I see Wolves, Fulham. Okay, very well 10th. 10th is their best position. Right. Because there's no one they can unseat above 10th. They can't unseat Brighton. They can't unseat West Ham, Newcastle United. Yeah, so 10th maybe.
The verdict is there, ladies and gentlemen. 10th for Chelsea from a Manchester United fan, but they must keep Poch, as Sly says, to stand a chance of improving next season. Next were the noisy neighbors of North London, Spurs, pulling off a great result as well over the weekend. Great result for them against Brighton, 2-1 the final score. Goals coming in there from Pap Matassa and Brennan Johnson with the winner, Faggy Time style, in the 96th minute. Spurs maintaining their momentum, and that one sort of consolidating their position. More or less in fourth place on 47 points, a point above Aston Villa in fifth place, but a further 5 points behind Arsenal, who are in third place. So it looks like the top four race is starting to shape up between Spurs, Aston Villa, and Manchester United, with Newcastle outsiders to that, if they can pick up some good results. So great result there for Spurs. Jonah, Spurs with the likes of Son coming back. That first 11 that did so well in the first 10 games of the season. Son is back. Pap Matassa is back. Bissouma is also back, but did start this one, and their defense is now settled. Do you see them potentially disrupting, not only securing the top four or the fourth position, but disrupting Arsenal in third place?
No, I don't see them disrupting Arsenal in third place. I think Arsenal are more consistent. Spurs will drop more points here and there to this team and that team, but I can see Spurs being influential in the title race. Whoever plays them won't enjoy playing them, that's for sure.
Right.
They're that team, like the way Postecoglou sets them up. They don't have fear. They will attack you no matter what. Like when most teams play Man City, they come off. As we have come here to best case draw, but if we lose, it's also not bad. Them they will
Right.
come to play. Like his Spurs Postecoglou is that guy. So they may not unseat Arsenal in third or second or wherever, but they will be influential in the title race 100%.
Very interesting. And now that you mention it, guys that still have to play Spurs are Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They play Aston Villa at Villa Park. They have Newcastle away at St James's Park. Then Manchester City have to go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Arsenal have to go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Spurs have to go to Anfield. With what, the third last game of the season. So it's going to be quite interesting, as you say. They could determine the direction of the title, and that will definitely be interesting. And moving on to the African Cup of Nations to sort of round it up here on the show tonight. Great spectacle of a tournament kicking off on Saturday with the third place playoff there, South Africa versus DR Congo. South Africa winning that one on penalties in a penalty shootout. Ronwen Williams, their goalkeeper, again proving the hero for that before the stage was set for an epic final of a contest there in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, or Cote d'Ivoire, as they do call it on the western side of the African continent. And indeed, magnificent game right there. Nigeria taking it to them, taking a lead, taking a lead right there before Ivory Coast came back to stun the Super Eagles in the second half of that match. And of course, Sebastian Haller, who much has made of with his heroics in coming back and battling cancer, testicular cancer, to be influential in scoring the winner from that after Frank Kessié had equalized for the Ivory Coast. Great result for the African continent. Sly, I don't know if you caught this game, but fantastic result.
I mean, to be honest, the entire tournament has received nothing but kind of positive review, and especially from, I've seen positive comments from the likes of Gary Neville, Jose Mourinho, and so forth, and it was kind of from an organizational and from a technical standpoint, because I mean we don't have the stars that we had, let's say, 10 years ago, and like kind of tearing up the tournament and doing all those kinds of things, but there is definitely a new generation. It's a lot of young players, exciting players. So yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the entire tournament. Of course, I caught key games, and no, I must say it was really, really refreshing. It's like, yo, now the pressure's on for us, East Africa, right? We have to.
Extra, right?
Yeah. So we have to bring it. So yeah, it's really, really nice.
Great. Jonah, your take as final thoughts as we close off on AFCON.
Yeah, man, this AFCON was it was amazing to watch. Didn't watch all the games same as live, but I watched most of them, especially the knockout stages and until the final. And it was very surprising, especially for the people who bet. You could be shocked. The big guys went out quickly. Egypt, Senegal, they were all surprised. Ivory Coast played really well in the final. They shocked Nigeria, who were looking like the favorites. They had more shots on goal, better possession. They were just better in almost every department. But it was a very nice tournament to watch, and of course, as Africans who are always mocked by the international community. They always making memes of us and stuff like that. But this time around, it was the opposite. Everyone was talking about how good the referees were with VAR, and pundits like Gary Neville talked about it and praised it. Mourinho, like Sly said, also said something there. So I think it's a big turning point, and I just hope that East Africa, we don't take us back.
Man, we need prayers for East Africa. We definitely have our hearts in a good place, but man, I don't know. Have you seen the size of those West Africans, man? The thigh, man. Frank Kessie's thigh alone is like you guys, like half the Uganda Queen squad, man. I don't know. We need to do something.
We just have to make sure we secure Uganda table. What's it called? Table games, right?
Right. Well, we need to get them in the gym, and the same goes for our brothers in TZ and Kenya, right? East Africans are generally a lot more slender, right? We're marathon runners.
I guess maybe we should take because remember the Spanish had that thing a little while ago, where they were just too small for playing, and then they started introducing tiki taka into their academies and stuff like that in order. So you take your posture and whatever you're at and use it to your advantage, We know, for example, East Africa endurance, right? Why don't we play why don't we deploy a tactical approach to football where it's we are just, it's dirt cow, it's freaking Vienna.
So we just outrun them.
Just on the time, and that becomes our football.
Yeah, man. I guess we'll have to think about that. That is all we had for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. If you just tuned in, feel free to catch up with the action on playback on YouTube and our social media platforms. And of course, feel free to subscribe, drop your comment, share, like the content, and we will be back very, very soon. But do have a fabulous rest of the week. Take care.
Bukayo Saka! Anthony! Salah! Beautiful from a There goes Haaland. He's on it.